Atkinson is somewhere in the audience, I think.
Where are you, Mariette? Not yet.
Okay, here's Andy. I'd now like to introduce Councillor Diane Holmes from the City of Ottawa. One of many, but a special housing champion.
Wow.
Hey, Diane, would you bring a welcome to the delegate?
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, everybody, bringing this so important topic to the steps of our national housing non-advocates in this government. but bringing the topic to Ottawa to let people know how important it is to have non-profit and affordable housing. We, like Toronto, we only have 16,000 units here. Toronto has 56,000 units in its Toronto community housing. But we can't even afford to maintain our housing, much less build new housing. We need new roofs, we need new elevators, we need more housing. We have 10,000 people on our waiting list. It's been 10,000 for many years because the federal government has walked away from housing. We can't let them do that. We've got to get them back to partner with us. There was a day when the federal government, provincial government, and cities all put money into housing. We built great stuff in those days. We need to get back into that kind of agreement. So thank you very much for coming, everybody.
And I also want to acknowledge the presence of a very, very special person, no stranger to all of us, Olivia Chow.
Maybe last night. It was very good.
I'd now like to introduce Councillor Ana Bailao, who is the co-chair of the Close the Housing Gap campaign and also the chair of Toronto's Affordable Housing Committee.
And future mayor of Toronto.
I think somebody in there needs to hear us loud and clear. What do we want?
Housing!
What do we want?
Now!
Are you listening, Mr. Prime Minister? What do we want?
Housing!
That's it. Affordable housing.
No.
And we brought a bus of people, of residents, of stakeholders. One politician with the hearts of many politicians that were left at City Hall today, that are working to fight every day at City Hall for affordable housing for our city. And we've been doing a lot of good work. A lot of you have joined us at City Hall because finally we are coming together as one city on this issue. We've been working with tenants. We've been working with non-profit organizations. We've been working even with the private sector to bring affordable housing to the city of Toronto. But you know what? We can't do it alone. We shouldn't do it alone because we are elected officials to represent you at City Hall, but we also have elected officials at Queen's Park and Parliament Hill. We're lucky enough to be joined here today by people, by representatives that believe that affordable, good, healthy, affordable housing should be a right to everybody in this country. So
Amen.
thank you for seeing the faces of the issue. This is not only about the money, it's not about bricks and mortars. This is about people. That's why our campaign is about putting people first, because these are the people. These are our residents that we're elected to represent, municipally, provincially, and federal. And not only is this the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. This is not a cost for governments. Affordable housing is an investment for governments. We could all be saving if we invest in good, affordable housing. So I thank you all for coming here today, for continuing our fight. I thank all the MPs and the senators that have joined us here today. This is just one of many steps. Next week, our colleagues that are at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities will be coming back. And they'll be talking to a lot of MPs because the Federation of Canadian Municipalities also says this is the main issue facing our cities. from coast to coast to coast, from urban to rural. This is the #1 issue if we want to build healthy communities. So our campaign is just one more. Toronto is just one example of what is going across the country. So Mr. Prime Minister, if you want to build healthy communities, if you want to build a healthy country, listen to the residents of this country. #1 issue is affordable housing. Thank you, and thank you again.
Woo! Yeah! Woo!
We've also been joined by John McCallum. Hello. MP.
Peter Stauffer, Parliamentarian of the Year.
Peter Starr from Nova Scotia. I'd now like you to meet, and many of you won't be the first time, Jean Jones from Toronto Community Housing, a person in this country who knows the issues firsthand and is dealing with some of the biggest issues in the country. Jean?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank all the residents, all the community supporters, all the elected officials. Just so proud to be here in front of you here today. Let's hope the federal government hears your voices this afternoon. Let me take just a moment to remember why we're all here. And please, while you're sitting here thinking about this, this is not the last time we're going to be here. We got to continue coming out here. We got to keep growing in numbers, and we need to show them what we're asking for, that we mean what we're saying, what we want. We want more money. We want to close this housing gap. We want people to come, our residents to come first. That's why we're here. I know most of my residents have lived here in Toronto Community Housing for many years. They know what it's like when the roof is leaking. They know where the roof is cracking. They know why our residents are here today, because this is their reality. I hear that every day from our residents about a leaky roof, the elevator's not working, and so on and so on. I want to be frank. At Toronto Community Housing, we face a tidal wave of repairs over the next few years. Many of our buildings are 40 to 50 years old, and we need to make $2.6 billion in capital repairs over the next decade just to keep pace. Yes, let me say that one more time, $2.6 billion over the next 10 years. Last week, the City of Toronto committed to funding 1/3 of that need. But the harsh reality is that we cannot solve this massive problem unless Ottawa comes to the table. We cannot do this alone. We need federal and provincial governments to do their fair share. It's the right thing to do for the hundreds of thousands of Canadians who live in social housing in Toronto and across Canada. And it's the right thing to do for everyone. Because housing is the foundation of vibrant communities. Clean, safe housing is what allows families to thrive. And investing in our infrastructure grows our economy. We need stable, long-term funding from the federal and provincial governments to deliver the basic housing needs for our residents. We need all Canadians to speak out. Contact your MPP, your MP, talk to your family and friends. Hold an event in your community in support of social housing. All these small actions will add up. With your help, we can close the housing gap. Thank you everyone for the support in this campaign.
Sherry Williams lives in Melford in Toronto in the Scarborough area. She's here with her daughter, and she's going to share with you some of her thoughts about why we need to close the housing gap.
It's a privilege to be here along with other tenants, Councillor Ana Bailao, and housing supporters. At that time was 87,000 families just to get a house, a home. And there are too many repairs that are desperately needed. How do we allow ourselves to ignore the state of affordable housing it is in and look to sell the much needed stock. Housing is the heart of the city. If people don't have homes, they are forced to sleep on well taken care of pavement. Investing in affordable housing is crucial, and we need federal government to join the city to be a part of the solution rather than the problem. Invest in affordable housing, and tenants will have homes to be proud of, feel value within ourselves in our homes in which we live in. We are always ready to be partners in our housing stock, and it will be taken care of better by us, tenants. But we need leadership and support to make this happen.
I'm going to ask some of the political representatives today to also just bring a brief remark. Here we go. Mike Sullivan from the NDP, York South Weston.
Thank you.